Tonight, we give you an inside look into one of Merrimack's most storied community involvement programs, Mack Gives Back. Almost 150 students over the course of 7 hours working together to feed approximately 36,000 people. Plus, we hear from Outreach Program Regional Manager Matthew Martin to hear how Merrimack has stepped up during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Merrimack has been killing it. This is our third time here out of just 9 mobile events during the pandemic. So you guys are figuring out how to keep it going and doing it huge.
An MCTV News special, Mack Gives Back. Here's MCTV News anchor Shaun McAvoy.
Hi everyone, I'm here today at Mack Gives Back, where Merrimack faculty and students are preparing meals for people in need.
Since the founding of Mack Gives Back in 2012 by Merrimack's Vice President for Mission and Ministry, Father Raymond Lugos, thousands of Merrimack students, staff, faculty, and alumni have contributed to helping nonprofit organizations and agencies in need of assistance. Mack Gives Back is a community-wide series of service events commemorating 2 days of significance in Merrimack's history, Veterans Day and St. Augustine's birthday. Volunteers perform a number of services, including raking leaves, picking up trash, stocking food pantries, and more. We were lucky enough to have our reporter, Shaun McAvoy, spend the day with volunteers and one regional manager of the outreach program to truly understand what goes into these events and give you a first-hand experience of how the Merrimack community comes together during this great tradition.
I'm here with Matthew Martin, the Regional Director of Outreach for New England. And Matthew, can you just tell us a little bit about what the outreach program is doing here?
Yep, so over the last 10 school years, we've actually worked with 2,600 groups. 300 or 400 of them are campuses. There are only 4 campuses in all of New England that have fed more than Merrimack.
Only 3, wow.
It's pretty exciting.
Now, this year compared to other years, has it been like less turnout, or have people still been coming out to help?
So the ironic thing about it is we can use less people. So if you look behind me, there's only up to 6 people on an assembly line, whereas there would normally be a dozen. These lines would be a lot closer together. So when we did events here year after year after year, I think 6 years in a row, it'd be just a room packed. Just in this half of this space would be all the people. Now we're just spreading way more out. And the people that come, up to 24 at a time, today we've had 18, 20, 22. They work together on 4 separate lines. So half are on one side, half are on the other. Some go way over there to stuff packs. They just do the same kind of work, more spread out. There's half as many of them, but they're working twice as fast. So we're getting as much work done as we have before. It just takes sometimes all day because you have to run, instead of doing hundreds of students at a time, you have to do dozens at a time all day long. So the events we've done here 3 months in a row, we do a different kind of, the meals, we have 10 different kinds. We've done 3 different kinds now the last 3 months. And we just run it from 8 o'clock when I show up. The first hour is setup, and then we do 7 shifts, an hour each. The kids walk out as the other ones walk in, and they just keep rolling through the day. And today we're going to feed up to 36,000 people.
I'm here right now with Chris Opel of Austin Scholars. Now Chris, is this your first time working Mack Gives Back?
Yes, this is my first year doing Mack Gives Back.
Now going into this, how did you think it was going to pan out with all the regulations and restrictions due to COVID?
I really didn't know how it was going to turn out. I saw a lot of pictures and videos of what happened last year for Mack Gives Back, how it was outside, and it looked something I wanted to participate in. So when it came around this year, I definitely wanted to partake in it. And I was a little skeptical. I didn't know how it was going to turn out with the COVID regulations, but it's still really fun. I like being here, and it works out really nice.
Yeah, I feel that way too. Now, why did you choose to do this in the first place?
I really just love helping people. I know it sounds a little generic, but I just love helping the community, the people around me, and just knowing that I can make a difference in the world.
So I used to be a pastor in a Lutheran church in Quincy. My wife was a teacher, and we were planning on doing that for our lives. She had a master's degree, I had 2, that was our profession. So we met in college, we went to graduate school, we got into our gigs, we had 2 little kids, and we lived in the Midwest. She had a dream that we were supposed to move to New England, so we did. And the very next day, the Haiti earthquake happened. So we started feeding 200 orphans in Haiti immediately. We did that for 18 months. And then we discovered that an American child was twice as likely to be hungry as any given person on the planet. We had more hunger at that time than we'd ever had prior to the pandemic. We had 1 billion hungry people on the planet. That was 1 out of 7. But 1 out of 3 kids in Maine was hungry, and 1 out of 4 kids in our country. 8.5 years later, right before the pandemic hit, we had the lowest numbers we had had in a very long time. We had driven hunger down to 1 out of 9 on the planet, 1 out of 7 American kids, but it's still 1 out of 5 kids in Maine, 1 out of 4 kids in Louisiana. And then hunger doubled during the pandemic. So we've actually done more packing and fed like 3 million people just during the pandemic, and we've never done that in an entire year before. But we're really doing this often. Today is actually event number 202 so far this year. We only did 120 last year. We've only done 30 of them mobile. This is event number 31 actually. But we've done 171 at our warehouse about an hour south of here, just on the South Shore. And we feed people all over New England. We always take the funding that we get and we provide meals for that area. So last year, if you were doing this, I would come here, we'd pack meals, they'd stay here because this is where they were funded. 1 out of 6 hungry New Englanders lives in the Merrimack Valley, so I'm here all the time doing this. Well then, when most of the events have to happen in Pembroke, the funding comes from all over New England. The meals primarily get packed at the warehouse, and then they go out back to the communities that funded them. So it's just kind of backwards. But we still get the work done, and more work than we've ever done. And we feed a lot of people. Normally, the North and South Shore, Boston, Providence Metro, Cape and Islands funds about half of the meals, and then the other areas, like further than an hour away, fund the other half. This year, 80% of our meals are being funded by that first area, and just 20% in the out area. So we've had a huge response in the Boston Metro to this, and we need to because there can be up to 500,000 hungry people just in these 5 counties of the Merrimack Valley. So we really need to be here packing all the time that we can. Merrimack has been killing it. This is our 3rd time here out of just 9 mobile events during the pandemic. So you guys are figuring out how to keep it going and doing it huge. And passing campus after campus. The first event got you on the top 10 list, and now you're climbing up steadily to be a powerhouse in this among campuses.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of helping to speak with us, and honestly, we commend you for being a part of this program and actually going out and making it a priority to help all these people. Thank you so much.
I got teenagers at home, but they were little kids when we moved here, and I don't know how anybody can deal with not being able to feed their children. So when you guys work, these meals can help on campus, they can help elderly, they can help little kids, but there are people, veterans, folks in your area that need the meals, and you're helping make it happen. So Mack Gives Back, huge.
There you have it, folks. As Matt Martin said himself, Merrimack Students and Mack Gives Back as an organization is rising through the ranks. Now get out and be the great community members that you all are.